What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Sober Experience. Hope you guys are doing well. That's it, man. We're here. We're in the victory lap. We're going to start this week's episode off with some cumbanchero from Ruben Gonzalez. Yup. You hear that horn? Come on! Yeah. Nice. Yeah, man. Here we are. It's another Sunday. Another beautiful day. Bicadoo. Yeah, shutting off the speaker. Last time we were here, earlier this week, got to hear from my buddy Otis. Yeah, he's a new guy. New to me is where he's at. He's got 2 years or something, and of sobriety. If you haven't listened to his episode, I strongly suggest you go back and you hear it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, he's right where he needs to be, you know. And I remember when I was coming around, and the longer that I stayed sober and the longer that I was encountering life, you know, a day at a time, an experience at a time, I found out, you know, how little I knew about a lot of things, you know, how little I knew. And I was just like, wow, everything was like a whole new experience. They have this book. It's called, I think, a New Pair of Glasses. I haven't read it, and but I just know a lot of people. They read that book and they love it. And you know, for me, whatever anybody else does, I am completely 100,000% against it. So I'm sure I'll get around to reading it one time or another, and it will be immensely beneficial, I am sure. You know, but this is today. What's today's date? Today is August 20th. 5 days until your boy gets hitched, getting married. And there's like no jokes. You know, there's no jokes. There's no jokes about it. It's gratitude. And I'm happy. And it sounds very cliche and very weird. Like, you know, I have, at this point in my life, I have maybe one or two friends. I'd say less than a handful of friends that are just like, oh, bro, don't do it. Oh, no. You know, that kind of stuff is not even funny to me anymore. And I don't, whatever. I'm not brushing it aside. I'm sure people, I guess that's men's way of saying, like, you know, man, that's fantastic. You found somebody that you love and that loves you, and you worked on it, and this is the culmination of all of that stuff. You did it. Congratulations. It's one of the best things I've ever done. That's how guys say it to each other. They're like, no, don't do it. Oh, the old fucking ball and chain. Well, I don't even know. You know, I don't even know. Yeah. So what I'm going through right now is I did an immense amount of preparation. So I'm pretty prepared. And I have a couple of loose ends that I am tying up. But really now it just boils down to execution. And one of the things I have to execute is to make space for myself. You know, I can actually believe that maybe I'm a little bit over prepared, but I don't think so. You know, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal for me. In my heart, I've always wanted to be married. I have never, ever been even close at all. I think I valued, being with somebody so immensely, or in such a high. It was like one of the, to me it was separate than being a dad. I have my son. Man, I love that boy. He's coming in tomorrow. From Texas. And sadly, his girlfriend, the co-parent of the dog's name is Turkish. Her name is Cynthia. She's awesome. But she was rollerblading or something, and she fell and she broke her wrist in a couple of different places. So she has to have some kind of surgery or whatever, and she's not going to make it. So my son is flying dolo. He's just flying dolo. And that's just what it is. Which is, it's cool. It's cool. He's not going to miss his dad's wedding. He's the freaking best man. And it's sad that he's leaving his fiancée behind. Thank God he's not some ism addict, alcoholic who looks into the stars for direction and any of that sort of stuff. Unreasonable analysis. Because if I'm honest with myself, if that was me, I'd be like, oh, this is a sign from God that she ain't the one, blah, blah, blah. Just because she had an accident, because she was a human. And they were out skating and they were having fun in a roller rink, and she fell, apparently trying to help somebody else, and so that's a good attribute to have, and that's it. Here we are, and it's funny because I was telling my fiance Emily, she's only gonna be my fiance until Friday. She's gonna be my fucking wife, bro. Dude, I'm gonna have a wife. What that means to me, I'll let that unfold as we unfold. But, the way he was describing it to me, he was like, hey, listen. He said, because he's 28. He's like, I'm not going on roller skates. And I understand, because he's not as athletic as he used to be when he was younger. And he played, 5 hours of basketball every day at Dyker Park, and he wasn't really a super drinker or party or whatever. He just liked to chill with his friends, chase girls, play ball. Nice kid, So, him getting on a pair of roller skates is like me trying to get on a skateboard. Last time I actually got on a skateboard and went to do something, I rolled an ankle so bad that skateboards are now, they're something I look at. I don't touch them. I can't move the way that I could. So either way, the way he was describing it to me was like, hey, look, I didn't get on the roller skates, and here we are, and she's a bit of a daredevil, which is really cool, because he's not. So maybe that's why they're a good match, apparently. So, yeah, so wedding week. My business is, I have like one loose end I really have to fix tomorrow. And then the rest of the week, I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands. And, I don't really know how to handle that effectively. I don't even know how to prepare for that, to be honest with you. I have a lot of free time every day where, I have to do I have to kind of do maintenance on my life, where I'm going to the gym, going to meetings, peripherally get involved with my business, talk to the other guys, which everything was kind of put on hold. We're trying to buy this laundromat. Who knows if that actually gets across the finish line. Hopefully it does. And then me and Am are doing something else. But, yeah, that's the thing, So I don't really know how to create space for myself to just relax and enjoy. And I think that is a learned skill when part of my personality is to keep myself busy, so that way I'm not in any kind of danger, which I can easily find with free time. You know, like if I won the lotto or something, or if I didn't have to work, I would still have to do something. Otherwise, I sit still. When I sit still, my brain is on overload. And it's not positive stuff. It's daydreaming. It's procrastination. It's bullshitting myself. It's all of those things when I sit still for a long period of time. Now, so that's why I stay busy, because then it keeps the mind quiet. You know, it keeps the mind quiet, because my mind is not my friend. My mind talks to me, you know, in all these negative ways, you know. And then periodically, I get a glimpse, like, hey, look, you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good. You know, I've yet to write my vows. I have like this little book that I'm supposed to write them in. I have an idea of what I want to say. I've been having these thoughts for some time, and I've been taking notes. And maybe I'll look at them and maybe I won't. I haven't decided yet. I find myself to be my most authentic self when I'm in the moment, which is how this show got to where it is, because we just do one take Charlie, where when I actually begin the show and I start talking, I let it go, and there's no editing, and then we just put it into the ether, and then apparently people listen all over the place. I was talking about this, I think I showed it to my boy, Justin, Tone Tank for Borough President, my brother. You know, when I was talking about my show, our show, whatever you want to call it, where if I look at the stats, you know, and you know, we find the locations where where we're helping people. You know, let me see all episodes. Bam. Not just the last 5. Hold on. Okay. Obviously, United States is number 1. But there's Canada, the United Kingdom, Denmark, Dominican Republic, India. There are people listening in India. I don't know how. Australia, Japan. Well, Japan I know because, I don't know. Because somebody's there still listening. When my boy Patrick, who also came on the show, was in Japan, he would listen over there. Mexico, Tanzania. I'm going like in order of this is like literally in order of the amount of listeners or downloads or whatever. Yeah, Tanzania. I don't even know what that is. Germany, Brazil, the Russian Federation. Oh, behind enemy lines. Ecuador, the Philippines, the UAE, Spain, Belgium, Aruba, Singapore, Zimbabwe, Thailand, Italy, Estonia, the Netherlands, Goedemiddag, met wie spreek ik? Malaysia, Ireland, Switzerland, Latvia, Greece, Egypt, New Zealand, Nepal, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Sweden, Slovakia, Bulgaria, France. I don't even know how to say this. Mauritius, Ghana, Norway, Poland, Indonesia, South Africa, Austria, South Korea, Romania, Finland. So I just named all the countries where people listen to the show, not where it's available, where there's actually downloads and people are listening. So wherever you are in any of those places, I'm thanking you personally. And feel free to find us and message us on social media. You know, so back to what I was saying, you know, I don't want to, I think with my vows, maybe I want something a little bit more deliberate instead of me finishing and then pause, finishing, pause, and then wishing I had said something else that I could say in private, where most of or all of you know how thoroughly I love my woman. You know, you all know, because I am relentless in my pursuit of making her happy and making her feel, giving her some kind of, I mean, she doesn't need it, but validation, self-worth. I want her to feel loved. I want her to feel secure. Yeah, I want her to have less worries, you know. Or if they're going to be worries, it ain't going to be from me. You know, I can be a source to turn to when she is worried, and we can figure stuff out together. And that's the deal. That's what this partnership is. You know, I grew up with two parents who loved each other, and they still love each other in a very unique way. And maybe inside of me, I always wanted that for myself. But since I had my son, you know, I already had a portion of that love filled. That unwavering, unquenchable, undying love that you have for another person. It could be your kid. To the sense that I don't understand how some people don't take care of their kids. To me, that's like fucking bananas. You know? That's bananas. So I don't even have that in me naturally. Naturally, I want to, I think naturally part of me wants to be needed. Maybe that gives me a little bit of validation. But I also love to share and create experiences for other people, which I've been able to do with my son and with my other two kids. You know, help them, you know, they can have things that they can experience that are directly and sometimes indirectly linked to me and their mom. Yeah. And that's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to give somebody that. So up until this point in my life, I've yet to find the right person that we can give that to each other, and then together give that to our family and our friends and our kids and everything. And that's like very, it's coming. And now this party is a culmination of all of that. It's our way of saying thank you to everybody else who helped along the way, and people that we want to share our love with. You know, it's a celebration for everybody. It's not just for the two of us. There's a lot of people rooting for us along the way, which, you know, and because I know because now I root for other people, and then it makes me sad when it doesn't work out. I'm just like, oh my God, because I want them to experience what we experience, which is a little bit at a time. You surrender and surrender and surrender to each other and to the greater good, which is the two of you together, than the individual wants or needs. And that process is not, it's ugly sometimes, the process of surrender. I can't imagine, I can't imagine my life any other way, but it was very rough getting here. Even when we first moved in together, the amount of times that we had like knockdown, drag out fights. I mean, nobody putting their hands on each other, but there were a couple of things being thrown around the apartment. You know, I punched a wall, a couple of walls, threw a cell phone, and it broke through the sheetrock and busted the wall. She's definitely thrown things at me. or in my direction. Thank God she didn't grow up. Imagine if she was like a softball player and she grew up and she was an athlete. Bro, I'd have stitches, because some of the things that I've said and some of the things that I've done, because, I wanted to be right. Even when I was wrong. But looking back, I'm like, man, I was way wrong about that. But I wanted to be right. And yeah. So, and those things are so painful. They're so painful that after you go through them a few times, you're like, listen, do I even want to live my life this way? With this much, space in between me and my partner. Between me and my woman, this much space. And after a while, you're just like, no, man, it's not worth it. There's very few things that are worth me saying, fuck you, I'm going to sleep on the couch. Very few things. And I was sharing about this in a meeting the other day because we were talking about, making amends. And, you make mistakes, you go and you say sorry and this, that, or whatever. But, harms that you've done other people, especially people that you love, people close to you, because they are close to you. And because maybe they'll tolerate it where somebody else wouldn't tolerate it. And I was able to share honestly in this meeting about, I can't remember when the last time I did a deliberate harm, like a deliberate one, like I'm going to say this and I know it's going to hurt you, but I will feel better because I need to say it. I think I need to say it. I can't remember the last time I did that. To my girl. Periodically I do that to other people because I just get so annoyed. And I work on that. It's not, yeah. But somebody that's close to me that wants to win with me, or their idea of winning includes me. And, yeah. That's nice. That's really nice. There's no better accolade. That I can't even give it to myself. I can only get it from being next to them. And I live for those accolades. I do. Yeah, so it's been a long time since I did one of those harms where I told her exactly what I thought versus what I feel. My buddy Big Daddy Glenn, he's also going to be at the wedding. Fucking love him. He used to tell me, when what I think turns into what I feel, I know I'm in deep trouble. Because of my perception problem that we consistently talk about on this show. The perception that I have about what's going on in my life, it's never, it's not always positive. I can't say it's never positive. But I know because like when I talk to these young guys like Otis or like these other kids, they don't even know how to be honest with themselves. So I'm listening to them, and I'm not singling him out specifically because him I don't really know that well. I got to know him a lot better just by doing the show with him, and I've yet to see him since we did it, and I'm happy he came on the show. Pause. And but I know what it's like to think you know. And the reality is you don't know, but in the moment you believe you know everything there is to know. And that's just not the case. So, when I'm trapped in that moment, like I have the infinite wisdom, I know I'm wrong right away. Whereas if I say, hey, look, based on my experience, I think we should do this. That's a little bit more there's a lot more humility based on my experience part, because it means I have failed in this way many times, and that's why we're doing it different. It's very, very true when it comes to my kids. They each get treated differently because the mistakes that I learned with the first one, you try not to repeat them with the second one. And the second one, you try not to repeat it with the third one. So the third one is the one that really has a really, really good chance, because you already made so many mistakes with the first two, that the third one, because of guidance, you don't even put them in a position where they can make the same mistakes as the first two, And that's what's nice. So when they're like, oh, listen, well, he got to do this, how come I can't do that? Like, because he got to do it, and guess what? It was wrong. So I'm not going to make the same mistake twice with you or 3 times with the little one, And I said the other day on Fake Book that, one of the best things I ever gave my kids was a little bit of struggle. And struggle to me is me not swooping in to save them right away. It's just allowing them to drown a little bit so they can learn how self-reliant they're going to need to be on this earth if they want to really be happy. They're going to need to learn that. So I remember, and we're dealing with but we have a situation with the middle kid where I learned a lesson from the first kid. Well, the first kid, he wanted my son, he wanted like a camera or something. And I think it was like $1,500 or whatever it was. And, he's a photographer. So I just told him, I said, listen, I can't buy you. I didn't even say I can't buy you the camera, because I could. It would have been a stretch at that point. Now it's like whatever. But I said, you find a way to put $750 on the table, and I'll put the other $750. I'm making up the number $1,500. It could have been $3,000. I think it might have been $3,000. I don't even know, but it was real money. And that was the deal. And then months later, he stepped to me. He's like, all right, I'm ready for the camera. I said, all right. I have, so let's go. Let me go into the bag, get the money. And he was like, no, I have it all. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah. No, I have it all. I have all of it. I'm just ready to get the camera. I was so proud. And I said, no, a deal's a deal. I'll give you half the money. You take the other half. You put it in savings or something. And I was very proud about that. And even now when he needs our help, we help him. But I don't help him all the way. Otherwise he'll never realize how great he is. And how capable he is. So the other ones, they want something. It makes me sad. It doesn't make me sad. I feel sad sometimes when they get sad, when I say, listen, you got to come up with half the bread. And, but I know it's the right thing to do. Because I'll never be able to give them self-worth. They have to give it to themselves. And I have to put them in positions where they can give it to themselves. Now, if it's an emergency, then of course, I'll help you out. But if it's not an emergency, this is going to be a nice exercise to see what you're made of. And that's the difference between teaching somebody a lesson and punishing them. And I had to learn that myself. Like, no, I'm not punishing my kids. I'm teaching them something. Teaching them how to fish, whatever. you know. Teaching them things I learned the hard way, I learned the easy way, and I learned with humility. I did, you know. I learned with humility, and my son has learned so many humbling things. My other two, they're doing it at their own pace, but they're also like, they have to have that humble pie. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to call mom and dad, and they're just going to give me this money, and I'm going to be able to do whatever I want. That is not the case. You know, that is not the case. We have a relationship with the three of them, all in a different way, based on what their needs are, what we feel their needs are, and also their attitudes and their behaviors. That dictates everything. And it's not that we're keeping score, but the truth is that's how relationships work on this earth. You know, relationships are not just give and take. It's like, hey, look, man, if I'm being a piece of shit, I can't be asking somebody for stuff. I'm not saying that they are. I'm saying in general. You know, I mean, I was an animal to my parents. But I turned it all the way around. And even now, just in the last like 10 years, it really steered the ship into like the open seas where we're all happy with each other. Yeah. So I was never in a position to really lean on them heavily for stuff, because that would make me a hypocrite or somebody who just basically is taking advantage. Like I can't ask somebody for something if I'm treating them like shit. I just can't. Even if I don't know that I'm doing it. And which is easy to fall into that trap. You know, because I'm a little, you know, I have an entitlement issue with my life. You know, I feel like what did I say before? It's nice to be needed. You know, and it's a thing about me. I don't know if it's in my personality or maybe because my dad is also the same way. My dad is like that to an extreme. You know, he does people a favor. He'll never let you live it down. You know, and then he keeps people, well, he used to. Now he's not really this way anymore, thank God. But he used to keep people in a position where, you know, if they were in debt to him in some way, then he could abuse them. And that, I identify with that. I uncovered that there was a part of my personality and my being that was like that. Meanwhile, I would give a stranger the shirt off my back. Again, because like, you know, validation. Like, look at me. I gave a stranger the shirt off my back. Meanwhile, you know, picking on the people that you love. And it ain't right. They always say there's no right way to do the wrong thing. You know, so, you know, I had to learn how to treat people in my immediate sphere, people in my life, people that I love, my family. I had to learn how to treat them like the same way I would treat any alcoholic or addict, which is with, you know, a little bit of understanding and some love and some patience and some tolerance. Yeah, I had to learn how to do that, you know, and I learned, and it's nice. It's really nice. It's just hard when you gotta be a little tough with them. Basically just the kids, but like even, yeah, when you gotta be tough because it's your responsibility to get them prepared for how, you know. I mean, look, I'm a lucky, grateful alcoholic and drug addict, and I'm lucky and I'm grateful because I'm in a community of people who live the way that I'm describing, where most people are not in that community. They don't have that in their lives. And I can tell because when they reach out to me or when they talk to me, I'm like, who else do you talk to? Like, do you have a network of people? Like, they have nothing. They have nobody they can be honest with. They have they're vague with everybody. And that's what keeps everybody apart, that anxious apartness. So I'm being honest with you guys now that I'm not even worried about my wedding. I can't wait for it to come. It's going to be a huge party. This is probably like the ultimate success for me. And, you know, yeah, we did it. We did it together. And it's a beautiful thing. And I'm happy I get to share it with all of you. And with that, we're going to wrap up. Hopefully you guys are, hopefully you guys are either looking or found what you're looking for. Or if you are already attached to somebody, you can practice a little bit more of that surrender. How do you want to spend your time? With your husband, your wife, your whatever, they're not the enemy. And that's what I learned this whole time. Is that dude, Emily is not my enemy. She's not. We just had to learn how to work together. I had to learn and she had to learn. And together we're it's very nice. Very nice. Anyway, so like and subscribe, share on all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify. Again, shout out to all you people in Europe and Canada, wherever else you guys are listening, all those countries. It's a beautiful thing. I appreciate the love. And keep an eye out. Next week, we have another episode dropping with my homegirl, Liz, who came and graced us. And, it's a wonderful episode. And I can't wait to hear the feedback from it. So we'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace.